I'd like to start by acknowledging the traditional owners of this land, the Wulgurukaba of Gurrumbulburra and Yumbanan and Bindal people. We pay our respects to their cultures, their ancestors and their elders past and present, and all future generations. To James Cook University Chancellor Mr Bill Twiddell, Vice-Chancellor and President Professor Sandra Harding, AO, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Well, it's an absolute pleasure to be here with you as we celebrate 50 years of James Cook University. Marking half a century as a fully fledged university, providing not only top-notch education to our region, but endless opportunity that has shaped the Townsville region and beyond. This evening is a truly special event as we launch a very significant exhibition which hosts 50 treasures from James Cook's University very own collection. From portraits and sketches to photographs and videos, there are so many stories just yearning to be told through a number of different mediums, which I think is a metaphor for everyone's journey at James Cook University, whether it be for a semester, an undergraduate degree, or a PhD. While most people in Townsville have had their own experiences with JCU, the relationship Townsville City Council shares with the university is and remains to be very special. Dating back to 1960, when Council purchased the land on which the university now sits for the grand price of £17,000. How the world has changed in 50 years since JCU was established, and how our city has changed as well. For generations, many of our brightest young people moved away from the region for lack of diversity and opportunity. However, James Cook University created a reason to stay to ensure we retain the next generation here in the north. JCU is more than a local education facility, and while North Queenslanders have attended the university, they have also gone on to achieve truly amazing things all around the world. The reputation of James Cook University has led to the creation of a world-class centre of higher education, attracting students from not just around the region, but around the world. Well, over the years, both Council and JCU have grown, adapted to, changed and flourished. One thing which remains the same is Council's support of James Cook University here in Townsville. Looking around the room at pieces on display at our beautiful Perth Tucker Gallery, which I'm probably a little bit biased about, but it's amazing to see such a fine documentation of the rich history of our region. With art, artefacts and treasures such as these, we are treated to a rich sample of North Queensland life and culture. This collection is extremely important to not just JCU, but to the whole of the Townsville community. It shows us who we are, who we have been, and hopefully offers a little glimpse of where we're going. So, can I encourage you all to spread the word to your family and friends to come and experience it for themselves over the next couple of months. It has been Council's absolute pleasure to support James Cook University, particularly tonight through the hosting of this wonderful exhibition. Over the years, Council and JCU have shared many memories, partnerships and opportunities, and I hope that it continues for another 50 years to come. Thank you and enjoy.
Welcome, Councillor Greenie, Director Hooper, Professor Harding, staff of James Cook University, ladies and gentlemen. I was thinking a lot about what to say to you tonight, and there's a lot I feel I could say about art, education, libraries, knowledge. It was a bit intimidating to sort of think of exactly what to focus on this evening. What I settled on was actually the collection itself, and why collections such as this one that you see before you, which is just a sliver, by the way. It's like the tip of the iceberg, incidentally, why these are so important. I think back to a fantastic BBC television series called Shooting the Past, in which a vast photographic collection is under threat of closure. The small team of custodians managed to negotiate a week to find a home for millions of photographs without having to break up the collection. While the series was first broadcast all the way back in 1999, it has only gained cultural currency. The shift to the digital world has been absolutely massive during the 2 decades since, and the show's depiction of the friction between the old and the new, that is the massive stockpile of archive boxes, compactors and glass negatives, and the sleek, efficient and seemingly infinite realm of digital data has only grown more timely. Which brings me to why collections such as these are so important. Unlike data, and we must remember that digital data is still a relatively recent phenomena, collections such as these have a life far beyond us. It's a common misconception that digital data does not take up any room, that it is infinite in its reproducibility and will last forever. This is not the case. Digital data does have a physical manifestation, and it is extremely short-lived and very, very easily lost. We are quite literally hemorrhaging data constantly. The rate of technological acceleration has increased so exponentially that it has passed the rate of renewal many, many times over. And we are actually losing more information, losing more knowledge faster today than any time in history. Take, for example, Patrick White, an extraordinary author and a frequent letter writer. Had he used email, we would be almost completely without access to any of his insights beyond his own one very, very slim volume, autobiographical volume, and anecdotes, as he was cranky and he didn't do many interviews. But what a loss that would have been. His letters now sit accessible in the Mitchell Library and are frequently used by biographers, scholars and writers and all sorts of people. This is why collections are so important. They do outlive us. They outlast us. They are part of our grand, messy, tragic and extraordinary legacy as a culture and as a people. I look among these items handpicked from the special collection, and I see all of the complexity of life in North Queensland, a legacy of scientists, artists, writers and others who have contributed so much to us as a community and have helped us to understand who we are and who we will be. She beat me to that one, did you notice? I am thrilled to babysit such an amazing and revealing and thought-provoking sliver of the collection, and so happy to be able to experience these treasures over the next 10 weeks. Thank you very much.
It is indeed my very great pleasure to be asked to officially open this 50 Treasures exhibition, celebrating 50 years of James Cook University. This landmark exhibition is a curated selection of stunning, rare and precious artefacts, including original manuscripts and artworks and archival footage drawn from our very own library special collections, as you have heard. At JCU, we talk about the power of place, and we can and should do that through the lens of our Northern Queensland history. JCU's special collections play an important role celebrating people and place, and I think it's no surprise that our previous speakers have also acknowledged this. Many of us are quite familiar with these treasures, whose digital versions have been released over the course of this year through NQ Heritage at JCU. Each treasure includes a well-researched significance statement with contributions from around 40 authors, many of them JCU alumni or with other very special connections to the university or the artefact that they were writing about. We've had social media posts, library new blog posts, a whole range of attention drawn to these wonderful treasures we have. And tonight we have the very special privilege of viewing these treasures together as part of a once-in-a-lifetime exhibition. As those of us here tonight are aware, this year, as you've already heard, marks 60 years of higher education in the North, the first 10 years being the University College, part of the University of Queensland, and 50 years of James Cook University. Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II officiated at a ceremony on the 20th of April 1970, bringing our university into being by means of her personal royal assent. And to this day, the JCU Act remains the only Act of Parliament, state, federal or territorial, to have received the personal assent of the reigning monarch. Those nostalgic for, or simply curious about, the university's earliest days will enjoy watching Treasure 16, which is archival footage between 1960 and 1970 from JCU's development at Pimlico through to our first Chancellor. It captures some of the journey of this university as we spread our influence to meet the needs of the Northern Queensland community. In light of our 50-year milestone, it is important to reflect on people, places and events that have shaped Northern Queensland's history. And this exhibition allows us to do just that, to encounter explorers and creators of all kinds and gain insight into the life of our place, on our land, in our towns and on the Great Barrier Reef. There is so much history, so many memories. There's knowledge, identity and culture all wrapped up in this exhibition, which will no doubt generate much conversation tonight and into the future about our region's history. And I'm so very pleased that our treasures are so well cared for and their significance understood and cherished and celebrated by virtue of the fact that we have outstanding colleagues at James Cook University who cherish and celebrate these treasures and more besides, to go to Dr. McBurney's point, every day, even as we're looking to continue to create this special collection with new additions. On a personal note, I'm grateful to all the authors, donors and artists who have contributed to this project and for the support they have provided to the university and of course the wider community in doing so. Before I close, let me just reinforce and say once again how lucky we are at our university to have such a dedicated group of colleagues in the library who demonstrate their commitment to heritage and cultural collections every day, including through this exhibition. Indeed. And if I might say, I remember when Helen first brought the idea of this exhibition as part of our 50-year anniversary, 60 years higher education, 50 years as a university. We had a committee chaired by our Chancellor, which looked at planning for our 50th year, 2020. The year hasn't turned out to be quite as we imagined it might be, I might say. And in fact, I'm quite tempted to write something about 2020, the year that wasn't, in order to recreate that. But when Helen came to that committee meeting and spoke about this idea of 50 treasures, it was such an inspired idea, but it was only possible because of the work that had gone on for such a long time, you know, effected through so many people, and it was there so that we could in fact deliver this exhibition and these pieces every week. So Helen, Bronwyn McBurney and your teams, your unwavering commitment has seen this important project realised. And my special thanks to all of you who have worked so hard in preparing and promoting this project this year. And indeed, you can have the weekend off. So I'm very pleased to let you know. Now, these treasures do indeed enable us to reflect, to acknowledge and explore our past as a community, and it allows us to celebrate our journey as a university too, even as we look forward from here. And on the scale of the world's oldest universities, the James Cook University 50-year journey is really very, very brief. But these, our treasures, express an extraordinary diversity, and they say something powerful about our university, about our community, and about our times. So, ladies and gentlemen, friends and colleagues, it is my great privilege and honour to declare the James Cook University 50 Treasures exhibition officially open. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Last night, like Jonathan, I was sitting at my desk pondering what to say tonight, and I have written a perfectly good preface that's in the catalogue after all, and I hope you'll take the time to read it and the foreword by Dr. Judith Jensen. So I thought instead I would share with you some of what I wrote to my staff and some of what I know to be true. This year has been different, we all know that, far more than most, and it's come with many challenges and many opportunities. And the Library and Information Services team has had many concurrent projects running this year, including refreshing some of our spaces in the Mabo Library. On Wednesday, just 2 days ago, we actually released treasure number 50 out into the world. We should have all stopped and toasted our success with a glass of champagne and basked in the glory of this wonderful thing that we have created. We really should have. Instead, we didn't even blink. We just kept working feverishly with the Purse Tucker team here to deliver this once-in-a-lifetime exhibition. So tomorrow we are having the day off and we're all having a long lunch. But so this is actually the culmination of over 18 months' work, of hard, relentless work to deliver on our 50 Treasures projects. And unfortunately, I came up with some other ideas at that committee, which include the Mabo Interpretive Wall. And if you're out on campus, please come by and visit. And our lovely Drawn to the Mabo Library Artists in Residence program and exhibition that we had this year. So it's amazing, I think, what the library staff have been able to do in 2020. The well-known phrase, "it takes a village to raise a child," comes to mind here, and I'm reminded that in this case it's taken our entire library village, and with staff from all departments on both campuses in our libraries working together to bring these projects to fruition. We've had a little help from our friends along the way. Well, actually, we've had a lot of help, I have to say, including that of many of our Special Collections volunteers. Some of them are here tonight, who've written pieces about treasures or helped in other ways. The lovely green cushions. In fact, our 40 authors, as Sandra did say, many of them are JCU alumni and have given of their time freely, producing an intriguing body of work that you see here tonight that accompanies every treasure. With the help of our talented videographers, Kylie Davis, who's here tonight, and I'm sure is looking to the end, forward to the very last video, and Mark Collins, one of our librarians at our Cairns campus, we've managed to produce 9 videos just for our 50 Treasures project, and there will still be a couple of more. Which adds a lovely, I think, digital dimension to all of these works. We're also very fortunate to be able to work with Jonathan McBurney and his team, who've partnered with us to produce a once-in-a-lifetime exhibition and a catalogue during, I think, what we know have been very trying times. So thank you, Jonathan, and your team. It also goes without saying that the outstanding photography by Mikhail Marzik brings the treasures to life. We've used it all through our catalogue. The silk newspaper on the wall there always amazes me because it looks like the real thing, but it's a photograph. The conservation work done by Mel Sorensen adds another crucial element, and we have some of those conservation videos running in the multimedia room, as do the magical photographs taken by Rob Parsons at 5:30 a.m. of our lovely, iconic, brutalist Mabo Library. The work done, though, by the Special Collections team, led by, now she shall always be known as the 51st treasure, Bronwyn McBurney, has been outstanding. Librarians working with Special Collections love history. With experience, they hone their radar for spotting what is significant and dedicate themselves to future researchers. As Bronwyn would say, it's not a profession for the faint-hearted, we are in it for the long haul, which we know. There's an enormous amount of work involved in taking donations, and I learn from Bronwyn every day about this essential and rewarding work. The work of forming an intimate relationship with the donation and the honour bestowed on us to preserve, protect and provide access to these precious family histories. Learning all you can and connecting with researchers and other important collections has never been more important. With the dedication of my staff, including Bronwyn McBurney and many others here, including Tricia Fielding, Louise Cottrell, Marge Naylor, Anna Gibbons, Amber Swain, Mark Collins, and Bernadette Biscacci, who has provided exemplary project management for all of our 50th anniversary projects and still wants to work for us. I don't know. This would not have been possible. You're all worth your weight in gold. That's my treasure reference. Got it? To our extremely talented, dedicated and hard-working editors, Sharon Bryan and Alison Rogers, and your relentless search for that last missing comma and full stop, I applaud you. But in closing, for me, Special Collections are the heart of what we do. They are what make us unique. They are a researcher's wonderland and they are a librarian's paradise. So thank you very much for coming tonight, and please stay and enjoy yourself.